Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of ChumChat. It's your boy Johan Gomez, alongside my co-host Chris Kuchar, and today we have a very, very special guest with us today. It's a Twitter celebrity. Y'all know him as 29. We know him as Diego Mendoza, but I won't say too much. He can introduce himself. Chris will also introduce him. But this episode is presented by BET Online. And Diego, thank you for coming on, bro.
Nah, bro, thank you for having me, bro. The pleasure is mine. I mean, you got it spot on, bro. 29. That's what else do we got to say right now, bro? Just if you heard the number 29 in the past couple weeks post Qatar, you know what we're talking about. You know what
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
about. So I'm not much of an intro guy, bro. So whenever you guys are ready to go, let's get it, bro. Let's get into it. I
Definitely.
appreciate y'all having me.
For those of you who are watching who haven't heard about 29 so far, he's basically the man who comes with the receipts. He is the eyes and ears on the inside of the USMNT, everything related to Weston, and I guess now eyes and ears on the inside of the Prim. Essentially, it really blew up a couple weeks ago. No, like more than a month ago by now, I guess, on that one Twitter space where you disclose all the Gio, Gregg Berhalter drama. This guy was on this like a week before other media outlets were. And a week later, when it came true, everybody started blowing up this guy, calling him the second coming. He comes with receipts, and then now same thing with Weston, the Leeds. Obviously, that got announced yesterday at the time of filming this, a few days before you guys are watching this. He was also a day before on that, and then countless other things. Just tell us a little bit about yourself first. Obviously, you come with the receipts, but why should people trust in what you say, and why should you be a respectable figure for people to listen to?
Uh, Here's the thing. Like I tell everyone, you can't believe everything you see on social media, right? Take everything with a grain of salt. But when someone is consistently dropping news and dropping bombs that ends up coming to light days later by you guys as faves, you guys as mainstream media guys, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, bro. I don't really have much explanation to do on that. I don't really have to prove myself. I don't really have anything to say to that. You can believe me at first or not. That's really up to you. Well, you talk about the Twitter Spaces that was about a month ago. It was the week following the elimination to Netherlands, where there was a Spaces hosted by my guy Jay Hernandez. Shout out to him. Um, he was hosting a space, and there was about 1,500 people on there. It was going crazy, and I just jumped in and started talking crazy. And and for the next couple hours on Twitter, my conversation on that space has lasted like 3 hours. And so for the next couple hours on Twitter, man, everyone's just like debating, do we believe this guy? Who is this guy? They started doing their little FBI investigations into who I am, found my social medias, saw that I'm friends with Weston, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guy might be legit. He's followed by Weston and other players. Weston has to be a source. He has to be legit. He was in the mix, you know." And it was crazy, bro. But you know what? I never once argued with anyone to believe me. I just went on there. I said my piece. I said what I knew. I said what
Yeah.
I've been told. I said what I saw. And then a week later, it all came to light, and people came back to 29 and said 29 is him. 29 is the guy. So that's all I'm going to say about proving myself, bro. Like it's I constantly drop bombs before mainstream media. So if that doesn't give you enough trust in me, bro, I don't know what will, bro. I'm
So
just a semi-anon guy on Twitter, man. Like
yeah.
I'm just on private, bro. I'm not a
Hmm.
big account, and that's why people find it so reluctant to believe me because I'm such a small account. But I'm in the know, bro. I don't really care how many followers I have. It's really all about what you got in your phone contact list, and I got a lot of people in my contact list, bro.
There you go.
So
Hey,
so
we
that's
gotta
what I
quote
got to say
that.
to that, bro. That's
Yeah, we gotta quote that.
Hey, if this
yeah. I
guy
don't
if
care about
someone walked up
followers,
to him
bro.
like on the street and was like, "Who's the most famous person in your contacts?" Tony and I would definitely have a list. He'd have a list.
You know what? I would. You know, it's crazy, bro. I would. I got a couple people where I just be like, yeah. Like
Chris,
I probably say Post Malone though. Post Malone for sure.
There we
that's
Yeah,
go.
Post
crazy.
Malone.
There we
Post
go.
Malone.
So Chris was telling me yesterday. Sorry to interrupt you, Chris, but Chris told me yesterday. I don't know if
You're
this is
good.
true. He's talking about followers. He said you went public for like an hour. And you gained like 1,000 followers. I don't know if that's true
I
or not.
went public for an hour and my phone went crazy. I was convinced to go public. I went public because the podcast I'm about to do after this, Order Knows Better, over there in Leeds, they did a tweet mentioning me, and they wanted me to retweet it, obviously, so my followers could see it. And they're like, they wanted me to go public, and I was like, bro, I'm not sure if I want to go public. I was so reluctant about doing it. I was so hesitant to go in public, bro, because them Leeds fans are crazy. And you know what? I said, you know what? Let me do it for you guys. Like, I'm doing your podcast. I might as well be out in the eye. Like, it is what it is. It's gonna be out. So I hit the little protect my tweets option, and I went public for an hour, and I gained 1,000 followers, and people were just in my mentions talking crazy to me, asking me the craziest things, replying with the craziest things. I got so overwhelmed. I went back to private. I said, let me remain semi-anon. I like the 29 that's private, and if you know, you know. If you don't, well, you're missing out.
There you go. Yeah. So we know Weston for sure is one of the plugs. He's one of the guys. You said there's a few different athletes that you're boys with, and you have multiple sources on the inside from which you get your information, and all that information has since come to light and come to be true. What are your relationships with those players? Do they know about your tweets? Do they give you the green light to say what you say? What's that relationship like there?
I definitely speak to the camps before I say anything crazy.
Yeah.
With Wes is just a close friend of mine. A lot of people like to believe that he's the direct source for a lot of my USMNT drama, but he's not. We do have conversations about it. We have had conversations about it. It's nothing over the phone when it comes to that stuff. It's usually in person. Just, plausibility, what's the word?
Deniability.
Plausibility, deniability. You're gonna have to cut that one out.
We got you.
So we don't text about anything like that. We don't talk on the phone about any of that. It's in person. These athletes, I have a bunch of athletes that I'm close friends with. A bunch of soccer players, football players, basketball players. So I mean, I have the insight on a lot of different things. But they're just close friends of mine that I've got to know over the past couple of years and built relationships with them. And not even on this was never the plan, bro. My plan was to never blow up like this. So it's not like I'm befriending these people for business opportunities. No, bro. I'm just like, I fuck with them. Like, yo, they're cool people. They're dope people. Yeah, they're athletes. But even if they weren't, they'd still be cool people to me. But then things like this happen.
Yeah.
And I want to get ahead of everyone else. So guess what? I start using my fingers, and I start reaching out, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, give me the tea. I need it before anyone else. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes I don't, just because they want to be the ones that release it, or the mainstream media is already on them about getting that information. So for a semi-anon person, I'm just a friend. So I'm down the pecking order. But sometimes, because I'm a friend and not a journalist, I'm atop the pecking order. Because at that point, it's just a conversation with your boy. Your boy's looking out for you, saying, yo, what's going on? What's going on in your life? What's up with this? I read about this, just making sure you're good. Is this legit? Is it not? And then if I get the green light to speak about it, then I'll speak about it. But not every conversation I have gets to be on the green light. Yeah, not every conversation gets the green light.
So are they, I guess, in West specifically, are they aware of your newly found Twitter fame? Have y'all talked about that at all?
The first person that, but Wes is so, in this very moment, Wes is so out of the mix right now, bro. You got to understand that he just completed probably the biggest January signing. Like he's a part of the biggest January transfer, bro. It's been speculated for about a year now, since last summer, with Tottenham flirting with him and calling for him and begging for him, but Juve didn't want that. So this is a year in the making, bro, for Weston. So Weston's not really in the mix with social media right now. I was speaking more to his mom when it came to Weston, just making sure just how everything is going. I have a good relationship with Tina. She's a great person. She's a great mom. Supported for West from day one, and so that's kind of who I spoke more to about 29. But is West aware of everything? Yeah, Wes knows what's up. Wes knows what's up, bro. When his mentions are being blown up by 29 in my ad name, he's just like, bro, what is going on? I'm just like, listen, bro. I'm not saying I'm Fab Romano, but I'm basically Fab Romano right now.
You are.
And I think he just finds it funny, bro. I don't. He doesn't think too much about it, bro. Wes knows that I have his best interest at all times. I've proven that to him over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
On just off the field things. So he knows that, like, listen, I'm not here to tarnish your name or anything. I'm not going to speak about personal things that have nothing to do with Leeds or with Juve or none of that. I'm not going to speak about that, bro. And I won't speak about it. It's not my place. It's not my business. And that's just not the type of friend I am. Everything everything that's green lighted is soccer related.
So
anything else that stays off limits, bro.
Yeah.
So you said you're close with his mom, and so you're close with that family. What ties do you have him here in Dallas, I assume? Did y'all play together growing up? How'd y'all meet?
Man, his mom, not his family, just his mom.
Okay, gotcha.
His mom is more who I'm closer with, and I got really close with over the summer, and then throughout the fall, and then recently, like we just developed our relationship over the past couple 6 months from just you're Wes's friend to like, oh, like, you know, different status. But yeah, so bro, growing up, I grew up in Dallas. Playing soccer, bro, you just knew who Weston was. I didn't play with him, but obviously he was in the same leagues, select, academy, and all that stuff. Like club ball, bro. You knew who FC Dallas was, and if you followed FC Dallas at a young age, bro, you heard of the Zendajas and the Westons and the Johans, bro. And you heard and the Kellyns, so you just knew about him. Thankfully, later in life, I became really closer to him as we got older, and so that's kind of like how we got here. But just knowing him from a young age, just from the club circle ball, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like just meeting people from Solar, Dallas Texans, all
yeah,
those
all
other clubs throughout
stuff,
Dallas.
bro.
Yeah, the people you play against.
Me playing in smaller clubs, bro. You know who those guys are, bro. You play against them and you see them at the tournaments, at the showcases, bro. And so you just know who those people are. And then later in life, I ended up becoming pretty close to them. So that's where our relationship comes from. Just being in Dallas, bro. That's what it's all about, bro.
Definitely.
Just literally just getting out there and just talking to people, bro.
Speaking of those relationships, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit to probably what a lot of people are clicking on this pod for. Speaking of close relationships and how important those can be in life within decision making, etc. How big of a role do you think Tyler Adams, Brendan, and even Jesse Marsch, how big of a role do you think they played in Wes getting that move to Leeds?
A big role, bro. A big role because he there was this video that Leeds posted last night where he's just like, Tyler had nothing to do with my decision.
Yeah,
it's funny. Wes just has such a funny personality because everyone in their damn right mind knows that Tyler had the biggest role in that move, bro. I mean, Tyler was obviously crucial in convincing Wes about not necessarily the club, bro, because that was Jesse's role, but the city of Leeds itself. And I'm gonna say something here that you guys might believe or not, depends how you want to take it, but I think this link up with Tyler has been years in the making, bro. They've been playing together since they were 14 years old in the youth national team, bro.
Yeah,
they're best friends, bro. That's his brother. They confide in each other and everything. When Wes gets down, he reaches out to his inner circle. That it does include Tyler Adams, just because of the trust and the bond they've had since they were U14s in the national team, bro, up into the senior team at the World Cup. And I want to talk about the Netherlands game, bro, in the World Cup. You saw the emotion that they had after the loss, bro, hugging each other, sitting down there for 10 minutes, just soaking it in. And I don't think all those feelings were necessarily negative or sad. I think they were just soaking the whole process up, like, man, we're really here. Like, we really got this far. Just you could tell, bro, if you see the images, the photographs, bro, you could just tell that they have a different bond. Tyler and Weston have a different bond that just not many people have, bro. It's a 10-year plus relationship, up and downs, bro. So it just goes way back, bro. So you obviously you can assume that Tyler had a big role, and he did. As for and Brendan as well. Brendan's in the mix, but Brendan didn't get in the mix with the national team till later. So
yeah, definitely.
But they're still friends. They're good friends though. Don't disregard that. Timing means nothing. Length of friendship don't mean nothing. But that 10+ relationship obviously is going to have a big role when you have a chance to come to Tyler's club. You obviously know Tyler's going to have a big role in that, especially recruitment. You obviously know Tyler wanted to play with him, and Wes would love to play with him, club and national team. As for Jesse, he had to convince West of the Sporting Project because at the same time, bro, they're in a relegation battle right now.
Yeah.
And if you saw, he had other offers. He had Bournemouth, which also in the same situation, relegation. But that phone call was a quick Bournemouth reaching out to Juve. Is Weston available? Yeah, call his agent. His agent picks up. What's the deal with Weston? And his agent politely declines. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't interest me. And it's like, well, what's the difference between Bournemouth and Leeds? The American connection that he has there. So that should answer your question, bro. He has offers from 3 clubs in the same position, but guess what? The only phone he actually picked up was the one for Leeds. You can assume why.
Definitely.
So let me ask you this though.
Connections.
Let me ask this. So if no Americans were there, would we be seeing Weston at Leeds right now?
I know that's not a question I can answer, but because it's never came out of his mouth, and I won't say anything that hasn't came out of his mouth. But I think you guys can assume if there was no Tyler, if there was no Brendan, there was no Jesse, if there was no 49ers group, American owners, I don't think West would be at Leeds. That's just the obvious, bro. You saw how he treated the Villa and Bournemouth rumors. It just doesn't. Leeds was the only exception to non-UCL teams because he really wanted to be in Champions League, playing at Juve, playing in Champions League for the past couple of years. That's what he's used to. That's the level of play he's used to. And not saying Leeds is a downgrade, but Leeds is not Champions League club or Europa at that.
Yeah.
So that's what he was holding out for. He really wanted Tottenham. He was flirting with Tottenham. Tottenham put the offers last summer, but Juve didn't want to sell him. And this time around, I guess Tottenham had different plans with their money. They got Pedro Porro with that 40 million. That 40 million could obviously be used on West. It's the same amount of money, 40 million and 40 million. I guess they went with Pedro Porro. I think they gave up on the West transfer just because Juve was very reluctant to sell to Tottenham. I don't know why. They just didn't want to do it. They weren't ready to let go. And then by this time around, Tottenham wasn't in the picture besides a little bit of flirting here and there just because of the relationships with I think Patrici, I think that's his name. He used to be a Juve board member who's now at Tottenham.
Okay.
I think so the relationship with the Tottenham board has always been there just because those people were at Juve, and Conte's a big fan of West. So the door has always been open for that move, but it just didn't. There wasn't much traction this winter when it came to Tottenham. So he kind of just he just moved on.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about, and certainly a lot of Twitter action, as you know, about Arsenal maybe coming in, hijacking. How close was that to happening?
I spoke about Arsenal on Jay Spaces when it first came out. The thing with Arsenal, bro, is they were never going to hijack it. There was an article that said that Arsenal could have hijacked it late. They were never going to hijack it. They got in the mix before Leeds. They were involved before Leeds, but it was just a casual call. What's his availability? And when Arsenal comes calling, your availability is always yes.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Arsenal is, and I spoke about this before any of the stuff you're seeing today, because it's deadline day. You obviously know Twitter's going crazy, the Premier League's going crazy, La Liga, everybody's going crazy right now. It's the biggest day of the season. So before any of this was really out there like that, I spoke about Arsenal and Moises Caicedo situation. I said, listen, if West is going to be an Arsenal player, it's going to be only if the Moises Caicedo deal falls through. A lot of people were saying there's no way Arsenal can even get a Caicedo, so why does that even matter? Listen, bro, Arsenal was always in the mix for Caicedo. They just didn't really apply pressure to the deal towards the end. They didn't want to sell Caicedo. So had Leeds not came in, bro, we probably would have been talking about Weston and Arsenal today because they ended up going with Jorginho, and Weston's kind of in that tire with Jorginho. And I know they are a fan of his, and they definitely did reach out. But at the time, it was just like, we're not making an offer right now. We just want to know if he's available, because they have to start when you're about to get into the final week of deadline of the transfer window. You got to know, like, okay, this is plan A, but you got to have a plan B, C, and D, and E. So they just wanted to set up their ducks and be like, okay, if Caicedo doesn't work, who's our B, who's our C, who's our D? Well, West is in that mix from B to D. But the thing about waiting is, what if you wait to the last day and Caicedo does get done Arsenal? Now you're stuck.
Yeah.
Now you're hoping that somebody comes in the last hour and makes a bid. And the way Juve works, Juve doesn't work fast. With all the situation they got going on, they don't move fast. So it just I don't think his agent wanted to wait for Arsenal. I think they wanted to get a deal done earlier just to assure a move because West was ready for a new challenge. So sitting around waiting for Arsenal, as much as that would have been a great move, that would have been a big move for the U.S. men's national team. If today we were talking about Weston McKennie to Arsenal, that'd be the biggest story. But guess what? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Leeds. So that's where his attention's at. Where he's not thinking about what ifs. I highly doubt Arsenal's crossed his mind today. I highly doubt he's reading the news about Arsenal and people saying, "Damn, that could have been West." I highly doubt he's paying any mind to that. At the end of the day, Leeds called, he greenlighted it, and they made it happen, and he's happy to be there. So, but there was never a potential for Arsenal hijack, but Arsenal's interest was there. Just it would have been down the pecking order towards the last day of the transfer deadline. And West just wasn't.
That's tricky. That's a tough part about the window, man. That Caicedo story, I mean, it all lines up. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've all been keeping up with that story. I mean, Caicedo, they've been after him for a while. It's been a whole saga, and it's come down to the last day that Brighton won't let him go, even though he's pushing to move. So, yeah, like you said, it would have made a lot of sense.
He publicly went on Twitter and Instagram. He publicly went on Twitter and Instagram and said, "I have a family to feed." He's making $5,000 a week. That's crazy. He's making $5,000 a week. And he went on. I've never seen this. I have never seen this in soccer. I see this in basketball and football all the time, because in basketball and football, it's way different. You can control where you go. And soccer, it's just different. It's different. Agents work different in soccer, and I've just never seen a player like that just go out and say, "I have a family to feed. I'm grateful for the opportunity, but y'all guys need to sell me because I need more money. You guys aren't offering me more money." But in return, I'm going to get you a record fee. I'm going to get you $70 million in return, and you guys can build past me. But I need to go feed my family, bro. He said I need to go feed my family. He said I got 10 brothers. So I understand why he did that. I've just never seen that, and it kind of backfired on him because it's not happening. It's a crazy story. And now imagine West just waiting there like, sorry, I'm going to let this man go feed his family so I can make the move or no? Like what's going on? Bro, it's just a situation that for West and his camp, bro, I don't think they wanted to be a part of, bro. It's just, listen, we're thankful for the call. Like we appreciate that. Like that's what's one of the highest honors of the game, like being called by a team like a club such as big as Arsenal, who's first place in the Premier League. But are we gonna sit around and wait for 7 days? Probably not. Probably not. So,
do you think? I have a good question for you. Do you think? So speaking of his time at Juve, I guess for me personally, I was wondering how badly do you think he wanted to leave? Was him going to the Prem? Was that more based off of his dream of going to the Prem, which we know to be true, or was it more so did he just really want to get out of Juve?
Obviously, as a kid, bro, growing up, isn't everybody's dream to go to the Prem? And he even spoke about it. Bro, I see the money they're offering players. I might start playing in the Prem tomorrow. I might start playing in the Prem. If anybody got any availability, hit me up because I'm ready to go. Because that money in the Prem is crazy, bro. But for Weston, it's not about money, man. Weston's well off. He's a very marketable player, bro. His finances are good. This has nothing to do with money. I don't pocket watch, and fans shouldn't pocket watch either. Weston is very stable financially. He's a very smart man with his money. Good investments he makes. So it has nothing to do with money. But the Prem has always been a dream of his. That's known. He's made it known. But the situation at Juve was just it got rocky towards the end, man. It's just they started misusing him, playing him at wing back, playing him at right wing, right back. As a 10. And not that West can't play a 10, but he's not a 10. You guys know what his position is. He's made it very public. He's a box-to-box 8. He's a traditional 8, box-to-box. So yeah. It's both. He definitely had that dream of playing in the Prem, as I said, and the situation at Juve towards the end just got rocky, bro. It started to feel like they were unappreciating him, because the thing about Weston is no matter where he plays, he performs. But just because he performs doesn't mean he's okay with it. what's he gonna do? Complain? That's not Weston. That's not his character.
Yeah.
Wes isn't a bad character player, contrary to a lot of beliefs, dating back to what happened in Nashville with the suspension and all that, and the partying at Juve, which we'll get into. But
Oh, we will.
he's not a bad character, dude. He's a great addition to the locker room. Any team would be lucky to have Weston. But just because he's being played out of position doesn't mean he's okay with it. But guess what? He's going to show up every day to the office and he's going to handle business. But you could kind of tell that it was just his demeanor just kind of changed a little bit, man. He started becoming a lot more silent on social media and all of that. And it kind of looked like for a second we were losing our boy. Like it just looked like he was just not happy there. And he wanted that move. I think he made it known after the World Cup to his agents that he wanted that move.
Sometimes you just need a fresh start.
Sometimes you just need a fresh start, and he wanted a new challenge. And let me tell you this: that move to Leeds isn't for anyone else but himself. He doesn't have anything to prove to us. Weston has a resume that not many people do. Like not many Americans in the history of USMNT have ever done the stuff that Wes has done. So Wes has nothing to prove to nobody. He's not coming here to prove it to you, to prove it to me, to prove it to them that he can play there. He just wants a new challenge. He has goals for himself, and he thinks that at Leeds, he can get to those goals. So it's a Wes thing. Wes's decision for going to Leeds makes sense to him, and that's all that matters. Nothing else.
You mentioned partying at Juve, et cetera, just because it's a question everybody's probably wondering. Do you know any good Cristiano stories? Do you know any good stories?
Man, I am not allowed to talk about Ronaldo. I cannot speak about Ronaldo, bro. I was having I was having a dinner with Weston in Dallas last March. Whenever Wes had that injury that ended his season essentially at Juve last year, and he came to rehab in Dallas and LA for about a week, and we had dinner. When Wes comes to Dallas, it's you usually gonna see me. You're gonna see me. Wes confides in my ability to make things happen in the nightlife.
Yeah.
So we went out to dinner before we went out to the club, and that's a conversation I definitely wanted to get in the mix of. I was like, yo, listen, what's it like with Cristiano? Like, what's it like? I already spoke to him about it, like over text and stuff like that when the move happened and then throughout the season. But I finally got him down. And I said, listen, bro, you guys share some stories. And he told me one crazy fucking story that I just couldn't believe.
I think I know it.
I don't know if you know it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to get in trouble because Ronaldo moves are nothing but NDAs and all that. So I'm not gonna sit here and get clipped speaking about Ronaldo's business with Wes's name attached to it. It gets sent to Wes. And we ain't doing that. So
that's the thing about Weston though, man. Like I've never interacted too much with him, but yeah, people can say things that, you know, what happened in Nashville, they can judge about him having it's very known that he has like a public nightlife, like he has a nightlife that he likes and stuff like that. But all I've heard about him is that he's very welcoming to new players. He's very nice. He's obviously his personality is so evident, you know, when you watch clips of him and all this stuff. So it makes sense to me that Cristiano took a liking to him because I mean, ever since, you know, he's touched everyone. Like me and him went to the same high school in Frisco, and you know, he's touched the people there just the same as I'm sure he touched Cristiano. So, you know, yeah.
Listen, I've never heard a bad thing about people that actually know Weston. It's all media bullshit, bro. I've never heard a bad word from people that actually know Weston. And these are people that have no reason to lie about it. It's the inner circle. It's the people around him, conversations I've had with other people in his inner circle. And no one's ever said a bad word about him. No one's ever said this and that. What he deals with off the field, what he does off the field, bro, is his business. As long as he still handles business on the field, who you got to understand, bro, he's a 24-year-old, well-off, well-known athlete. He's the face of the USMNT, bro. Him and Christian are the face of it. There's always going to be eyes on Weston McKennie, bro. Yeah. But what he does off the field, if he still shows up every day to training and handles his business on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is that they have a game, what's the problem? What man in that situation doesn't like a good time?
Mm-hmm.
It should be a concern of if he wasn't like that. Like, what is this man? What's wrong with this man?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Speaking of that off the field, on the field, making sure it doesn't conflict. Something that we wanted to, for those fans who weren't in that original space, can you just tell us on a different topic? Can you just tell us some of the Gio Reyna, Gregg Berhalter story as if we've never heard it before? Just as much as you're able to say, just every detail.
Everything I've said about it is out there, so there is no going back on this, bro. There's literally no going about this.
Dude, I have not heard it, so I'm excited for this. I love details, and it's still relevant. It's still very much in the media. Yeah. I saw you tweeting about it today, so I'd love to hear it.
I've been talking about Gio since last night because we were just talking about USMNT on Twitter. We were just having a conversation, and to me, Gio's him. Gio's him. I don't care what nobody says. Gio is him. He's the most. And shout out to Christian and Weston and Tyler and Musa and all them boys, but Gio is just the biggest talent the USMNT has ever had. We're talking about all time, and we're talking talent. He hasn't proven it. He's had his moments, Mexico game and last summer and 2 summers ago. He's had his moments, but he hasn't proved it. Like Dempsey and Donovan have done it at the biggest stage. So until Gio does that, we can't say he's the best player all time. But guess what? His potential will allow him to possibly be there one day.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
As for the drama, man, we're going back down this fucking this rabbit hole. We're going back down this rabbit hole, and I knew this was coming. So if we're gonna talk about it, like if we're explaining it to a 5-year-old kid who has never heard about it, let's do it that way.
Go for it.
So obviously you guys know the USMNT qualified for the World Cup this past year. That's major. They didn't make it in 2018. They made it in 2022. The problem with 2022 was that at the end of the tournament, we didn't get to highlight the success of the team and how they did. The story coming out of the USMNT camp was the drama between the head coach Gregg and the father of the star Gio Reyna. That should never be the headline, ever. But that's what the case was. Long story short, before the World Cup, in that I think there was a 7 to 10 day camp, depending when your club season ended, before Qatar, basically preseason for the World Cup with the national team. Players arrived and they got their training in. During that time span, there was reports that came out that Gio Reyna was being lazy and entitled, and Gregg had a problem with that. As it's confirmed, Gregg sat down Gio and told him he was going to have a limited role before the World Cup even started. That, to me, that's already a red flag.
Was that because of what he saw in training, or did that come before the training?
That's because of what he saw in training. Listen, Gregg was first of all, Gregg said Gio was hurt, right? Let's go with the story that Gio was hurt. All right. So you're making a player who's hurt train in 100-degree weathers before the tournament even starts. He's hurt, but you're having a problem that he's walking around training and he's not giving his full 100%. So for that reason, he has a limited role. But he's hurt though. You can't have both.
Yeah.
Was he lazy or was he hurt? You said he was hurt, but you're expecting him to give it 110% in training. That doesn't make sense. How are you supposed to give it 110% when you're hurt? That doesn't make sense. So the story is that Gregg sat down Gio and told him he's going to have a limited role at the World Cup before the World Cup even started because of his work ethic. That is true. He did. That did happen. He confirmed it himself at the summit when he spoke to the people about it. But the narrative that Gio is lazy in training is false. That's false. He's expecting Gio to press in 100-degree weather in Qatar days before the World Cup. That's just not who Gio is, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. That's just not who Gio Reyna is. He's not going to press. He's not going to press for 90 minutes, let alone in training in 100-degree weather. He's not going to do that. And so the story came out that they had a conversation with the federation and with the team, with everyone around the team that, listen, this isn't acceptable, and you might have to go home. That conversation did happen. Gregg damn near sent Gio Reyna home. he sat down Gio and his parents and said, "Listen, you got two options. Either we send you back to Germany, or we send you back to the United States. Where do you want to go? You want to go have off season in the United States? You want to have a little vacation time, or you want to go back to your club?" He gave him the option. It was damn near done, but I believe with Gio apologizing for his actions and a little bit of a second input from everyone around the club, they probably realized that, listen, we can't send Gio Reyna home. Like, we can't do that. He's Gio Reyna at the end of the day.
There were a lot of rumors that there was a vote around the camp. Is that true?
I said this on the Spaces, and I got clipped hard, and people mixed my
twisted your words.
Yeah. I said, listen, I don't know if there was a vote, but if there was a vote, I know who Weston would vote for, because they asked me what they asked me what they asked me was, what was Weston's vote, and I said, listen, I don't know if there's a vote on record. I don't know, but if there was, I know who Wes is voting for. He's voting for Gio to stay. That's just his boy. They have a really good relationship. Yeah. They're kind of been in similar situations. You guys know Wes's drama with the national team. So guess who's one of the first people to reach out to Gio Reyna? It's Weston.
Definitely.
So, but that vote, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think happened. As far as I know, I don't think it happened. But that was a report. That was a report, and I can't confirm or deny it. But if it did happen, I know who majority of the players voted for. The Eurocore definitely would have voted for him to stay, just because Gio doesn't have a shortage of respect in the locker room. It's just there's a division in the locker room between the MLS and the European players. It's obvious. A lot of them side with Gregg, because being a yes man to Gregg in that locker room gives you opportunities that you probably don't deserve. You saw that by playing Jordan Morris over Gio Reyna, playing Shaq Moore over Joe Scally. These are just decisions that, as a coach, you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be making. Why, in the biggest game of the tournament against England, are you subbing in Shaq Moore over Joe Scally? Joe Scally's proven in the Bundesliga so far in his season and a half. He's performed against Munich. You're going to go in your bench, look at Joe Scally, and say, no, let's go with Shaq Moore.
Yeah. And it's nothing against Shaq Moore, but when you stack up both
Shaq
resumes.
Moore, but yeah, it's nothing against Shaq Moore. He's a bit older, but Joe Scally is doing it in the Bundesliga, man. He's starting at 18. He's doing it at 19 now. He's had a great season so far. He's doing it. He was having a great season up into the World Cup camp. So those are the privileges you get by being a yes man to Gregg in the locker room. It is what it is. Call a spade a spade. Those are the privileges you get. And European players, they don't respect it. They don't respect it. Have a backbone. If you don't agree with the coach says, say something. You don't like the way something's being done, speak about it. Guess what? The European players do that because they come from higher clubs, bigger clubs, big coaches, big players around them. It gets heated over there in Europe. At
the same time, though, to play devil's advocate, what would you say to players like, for instance, Kellyn? He's been wanting to move to Europe forever. He has the quality to do so. But just, like you said, sometimes in the sport, it doesn't happen the way you want it to. He's been truthfully maybe even stuck in MLS. He talked to us about that on our pod. Y'all should go check out that episode. It'll be down below. But to guys like that who are still in the MLS and want to go to Europe, there might be some borderline players, but would you say that players in Europe might have a sense of entitlement over some of the MLS players?
Speaking about Kellyn, I just said this last night, bro. Kellyn, he's been, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what the appropriate word for it is, but he's been, let's just say how I want to say it. He's been hoed by the
overlooked.
He's been not overlooked.
Hoed
over. I put this on record. Kellyn Acosta has been over by the MLS transfer policy.
Yeah.
Because if you sell a player in the MLS, that money doesn't go to the club. It goes to the owners. And that owner gets to choose what to do with his money. It doesn't have to necessarily go to the club. If you trade a player, that money you get off the trade goes to the club.
Mm-hmm.
So Kellyn has simply been over by the MLS transfer policy because
Definitely.
FC Dallas wanted money. They didn't want to give it to the Hunt family. They wanted for the club. Colorado didn't want to give it to their owner. They wanted to have it for the club. So guess what? They traded him to LA. FC Dallas traded him to Colorado. Kellyn Acosta should be in Europe. He has the quality. I'm not saying Kellyn Acosta should go start for United or one of these, or Juve or one of these big clubs. But Kellyn Acosta could easily make it in the Netherlands. He could easily make it in Germany. And he could probably make it at a lower tier English team in the Premier League. He has the quality. You've seen it. He's a great player. He's just been, his clubs have been selfish with him. And at this point, living in LA, being the face of a LA club, being paid well, your son is there, your son is loving it. It doesn't really make sense to make the move to Europe anymore. So unfortunately for Kellyn, bro, I don't think it's gonna happen. But that's not even his fault.
Yeah,
that's not even his fault. That's a whole different conversation. We're talking about the MLS transfer policy. It's over there. They don't have the player's best interest. They don't. But do the European players have a bit of more entitlement? I wouldn't call it entitlement, but they definitely know that their game speaks for itself.
Yeah,
definitely.
They definitely know that their game speaks for itself.
Well, let me ask you something.
I won't give it the word entitlement. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something though. There were reports, and I don't know how true this is, that you don't have to say names, but that Pulisic and some of the European guys don't even like Gregg. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I've already spoken about this, bro. It's already out there. It's public knowledge. I already spoke about this, bro. I know. Christian Pulisic, he's a very respectful young man. He's very respectful to everyone in the federation. He's not going to disrespect you. He's not going to do any of that. But let's just put it this way: take it how you want. Gregg lost the locker room. He lost the locker room because he lost the bigger characters in the locker room. If you want to add 2 + 2 and say Christian Pulisic would be one of the bigger characters in the locker room, one of the bigger names, I think it's obvious. So that's that. Yeah. If you don't got the locker room, you don't got nothing.
Does Weston have a preference, or do you know? I know you gave your pick, Steve Cherundolo, for who should be the next coach. Does Weston or do the big core guys, to your knowledge, have a pick on who should be the next coach?
Man, I think those guys are so focused on their clubs right now that I don't even think that's something that's crossing their mind. Obviously, they keep up with the national team; they have to, but since December they've been gone, and they won't be seeing the national team till March. I think they'll be in Orlando. I think the first team will get the call up in Orlando to qualify for the Nations League finals against I think it's Grenada and El Salvador in a couple months. So in that time frame, bro, I just don't think the national team is something they're thinking about. They trust the federation to make the right moves for them. This is the golden era. This is the golden generation for the USMNT. Definitely the golden generation. So I think they have trust and Cindy to make the right move, to hire the right sporting director, and then eventually hiring the right coach. But I don't think there's a preference right now from those players, bro. Whenever I think the players will get in the mix with the situation once the sporting director is hired. But as for now, it's not really something on top of their mind, bro. They're too focused on what's going on. You think Weston's worried about who's going to be the coach when he's in the news every day over a transfer like as big as it is? No. And Christian, he's hurt right now. He's worried about getting back on the field.
Yeah,
it's true.
Tyler's having the biggest season of his career. Yunus Musa is having a big season. Chris Richards is just coming back from injury. And everyone else, Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson, what they're doing at Fulham is crazy, and nobody saw this coming. Serginho is just trying to get his feet in the water again and just trying to get back in the mix, playing week in, week out. Obviously, there's some struggles there, but he's doing that. So you think these players are worried about that, bro? They're not. They're not.
Speaking of major players for us in this next World Cup run with our golden generation, do we have an update, or what's your take on the whole Balogun situation? Where's that?
Man, I've been asked about Balogun for weeks now, bro. Listen, if the decision had to be made today, gun to his head, he would choose the U.S. men's national team. But it's not that simple. There's not a gun to his head. He doesn't have to make a decision. That's what makes it not simple. He doesn't have to make a decision right now. He has all the time in the world. And I don't think you're going to see a decision be made soon. He could still represent the U21s at the Euros, which I think he will. I think, listen, he wants to play for England. He wants to. That's where he's from. You can understand that. I don't think Nigeria is really an option for him. No disrespect to Nigeria. Beautiful country. Great team. Great history. They have their guy, the Napoli forward. That's their future. Osimhen, that's the future for Nigeria, bro. That's the future. He's the best forward in the Serie A. He's probably going to make a $60 to $80 million move this summer to a big Premier League team. Could be Arsenal. Could not be Arsenal. Could be someone else. But that's their focus right now. Let's build around him. I know Nigeria probably wants to captain him because what you want to have a plan B, C, and D. Like look at the boat you guys were at when Pepe wasn't called up. It wasn't that good out there. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Nigeria would love to have him, but he's not in Nigeria. He's not Nigeria's priority right now. So I think it's really between you guys and England. He really wants England, bro. But guess what? To England, he's just one of many other nines, bro. He's just one of many other nines. And Keita, the young player at Arsenal who stepped up for Jesus when he got hurt, bro. He's been killing it. He is balling. He might be the next guy in line. Imagine if England calls him up in March.
Yeah. But you said gun to his head. You said gun to his head. US?
Because he wants to play first team ball, bro, and he's not going to get that opportunity in England. So gun to his head, I think it's going to be the U.S. men's national team because guess what? That's realistically the one out of the three countries that's going to guarantee you first team football.
Definitely.
And that's what he wants. I know he wants to prove his worth to England. I know he wants to be there. He's born there. He was raised there. He's an Arsenal product. But guess what? That just doesn't seem like an option for him today. That's why I'm saying gun to his head today. It would be the U.S. men's national team because that would give him opportunity to play in the big cups, Copa America and the World Cup.
Do you know if we have any players that are maybe trying to pull him in that direction?
Oh, for sure. I can confirm, and I know for a fact Tim Weah and Yunus Musa are in weekly contact with him, bro, and they're always showing them love on the gram. You can. I mean, you see the Instagram. Anytime Folarin posts, bro, who's the first people under his comments, bro? It's Tim Weah and Yunus Musa, bro. And if Tim Weah has to call his dad for him to get involved, I promise you, Georgie would be involved, bro. George got a lot of pull, bro. George has a lot of pull. George is a great guy for what I've heard, bro. He gave Weston a beautiful gift after the World Cup. He gave him a nice Louis bag. It's pretty dope.
Awesome.
It was a pretty dope gift. But listen, if George gets involved, bro, it might be a wrap. That's all I'm saying. If George gets involved, it might be a wrap. But I know for a fact Tim and Eunice are in contact with him, and they're trying to recruit him over here. And the U.S. fans, bro, they go crazy for Folarin on Instagram, bro. Folarin can post a black screen, and there's gonna be 1,000 red, blue, and white hearts, bro. And they don't even care what's going on with Folarin, bro. They just want to show him love. They did the same thing with Gaga Slonina, bro. Poland wanted him, but guess what? Them Poland fans, English fans, European fans, they're entitled. You should want to play for us. Just because we're a European country.
Yep.
It's not like that in the US, bro. You guys have to go and recruit these players. You guys have to go show them love. And I think the players see that. Gaga obviously saw that and he felt the love. He said the reason he chose the US was because he felt the love. And so you got as a US fan, keep doing what you're doing. Because it's gonna go a long way in recruiting doing that. So I'm pretty sure Johan can speak about his brother when it comes to that. But he's not committed yet. I believe. I don't think your brother's committed yet.
No, not yet.
But gun to his head, he's picking US. So
probably. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either.
I don't know, bro. I mean, listen. Here's the thing about your brother, bro. He's a good talent, bro. He's a good talent. We saw him play this past week. He's a good talent, bro. But he doesn't have to decide yet. He's not. He knows he's not going to be a first team player anytime soon. So he doesn't have to decide right now. he's gonna go focus on his improvement and where I can get better and growing and all that, and then I'll make a decision. So right now, I think that's your brother's preference right now. It's just how can I get better, and then once I know I'm a first team player, I'll make my decision. But for now, I think your brother's just working on trying to get better every day. He's young. He's 18 years old, bro.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
guess what? He's wanted by the US. He's wanted by Mexico. We want him. I'm Mexican. We want him.
Yeah.
But your brother's not ready. Your brother's not ready to make that decision. So that's the same case as Folarin, bro. He's not ready to make his decision. He's just not there yet. But
Speaking of, sorry to interrupt you, but speaking
no, go
of
ahead.
the fact that you're Mexican, we know that you support the Mexican national team. Why did you choose to get so involved with US Twitter? Is it because of your link to Weston?
Bro, listen. We're down bad, brother. We're down so bad right now, bro. We're down so bad right now. There's just nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. If I wanted to be who I am, but with the Mexican Federation, I wouldn't have anything to speak about. Our players aren't being moved to Europe. We don't have it. We I guess we have this plan where we're just gonna play games without a coach because we still haven't announced it. The U.S. is different because you guys have a situation going on in your hands where it's delicate and there's investigation. There's nothing going on with our country, bro. We're just not making any moves. So even if I wanted to be heavily involved in the FMF, bro, on Twitter and reach out to my sources, there's nothing going on. The biggest news that's came out of the FMF so far, besides the coaching candidacies, is that Julian Araujo might go to Barcelona. And that's not even a definite thing. There's always something new on USMNT Twitter. So, but the reason I got heavily involved was, listen, this wasn't my plan, bro. I did not plan to be this involved. This happened overnight because my goofy self decided to get on the spaces and talk crazy for 3 hours, bro. And I just ran with it. I didn't even try to run with it. Bro, you guys sucked me in. You guys recruited me, bro. That's what it was. You guys recruited me. They're like, every day was 29, 29, 29, 29. I'm just like,
yeah.
All right, I'll buy it. What's up? Which I want to know. Which I want to talk about. And so, bro, listen, I do support the US. I do support USMNT because of Weston. That is my one allegiance to you guys. I all bullshit aside, all 29 shit aside, bro. Weston is my friend. I love him. He's a brother to me. I have his best interest at heart. I will always support that man. Even if he wasn't a soccer player, I support him because he's a great person. But that is my ties to the U.S. men's national team. I support my friend. That's what it is. I support my friend, and I follow you guys. And then there was blindly an opportunity for me to get involved on Twitter, and I accidentally took it, and so now I'm heavily involved on Twitter. But yeah, just that you got it right. My allegiance is West. I support him. And
so you had a tweet. Speaking of where you're at on Twitter, though, you had a tweet about potentially having a podcast of your own. Is there any announcement you want to make, or any indication of what may happen?
The past week was crazy.
Yeah.
You know it. Everyone knows it. I am a semi-anon Twitter account. I got 3,000 followers, 3,500. My only relations to anything is I got friends in high places who are either athletes or agents or in the mix, and they feel comfortable sharing news with me. That's all I am, bro. I'm not paid by a major media or company like ESPN or The Athletic or Bleacher. I'm not a paid athlete, bro. I'm just a guy with a phone and some friends. Mm-hmm. That's it. When someone like me is out here breaking news before Fab Romano and Di Marcia and all these dudes, that just doesn't happen. That's not a thing. And the fact that I have been able to do it through my connections and then the cult following that I've built over the past month on Twitter, it got the attention of a semi-big media company that reached out to me last night. And they reached out to me and they asked for my number and they said, hey, we've seen what you're doing. We've heard about you. We keep getting one of our employees follows you. They think your story is crazy. They don't know how the hell you got here, but listen, we're intrigued. Asked for my number, got on a quick 10-minute call with him last night. And this is a big executive at a semi-big. This is an executive at a semi-big media company. I won't say who, because they asked me to sign an NDA about it. They said you can talk without giving names and all that, because nothing's concrete. But this is a semi-big media company that wants to start a soccer podcast, and somehow I've got in my way top of their list of who they want as their host. And this is full on production in a studio type stuff. This is 6-figure deal. You know, they didn't give me an exact number or anything. They just said, listen, this is our budget. This is how it would go down. This and that. They just gave me all details without details, right? Like basic general details without details. And it's just crazy. It's insane, bro. Because a month ago, I had 800 followers on Twitter. It was just people. I just followed, you know, athletes that I love. I love sports, bro. I love sports. I love music. I love fashion. That's what I'm into. And so that's all I followed on Twitter. And then people that I went to high school with and all that stuff like that. That's all I followed. And in the span of a month, bro, I've blown up. I've dropped bombs that I have no business dropping, bro. And it's made its way into people's laps, and they're like, bro, what the hell? Like, I've never heard of this. Like, this is crazy. I can tweet hi right now and I'd get 50 replies. 29, 29, 29. Yeah. What are you doing, 29? What are you doing, 29? What are you doing, 29? 29, any news on this? 29, any news? Bro, I have a following, like real engagement. Yeah. You know this, Chris. I can tweet hi right now and I'm getting 50 replies asking about my day, asking if I know something about this. Bro, it's crazy. And so this company, they see the potential that what could be with me, with again, my connects, my contacts. They know, they spoke to me about a little bit of my connects and who I'm friends with and all that stuff. And I spoke about it, not getting into detail, but I spoke about my friends and who I'm connected with, and they want me to bring on guests, and they will as well help bring on guests that they'll connect me to people. So this is a company that wants to invest in me just because they think I have the personality to blow up. Like, they really, and this is not a small, that's like, I got to put emphasis. This is not a small company. If I name drop the company, the casual person would know who it is. Yeah. And they want to start a soccer podcast just because the World Cup is coming in 2026. So they're trying to grow it. The US media is trying to grow soccer. Definitely. Just getting and preparing for 2026. If bringing the World Cup alone isn't enough, you know, they just want to get involved in any way. So they want to start a soccer brand. They want to start a podcast. And somehow I made my way into their lab, and they're all in on me, and they're just saying, listen, take your time, no rush, but this is what we can offer. Before getting into details, this is what we can offer. And it's something that I'm gonna consider. It is a nice bag, not gonna lie. It's 6 figures. It's crazy. But I mean I'm well off right now. I live a nice life. I'm thankful to God. You know, I'm grateful for it. I have a beautiful family. I have a son. I have a girlfriend. So it's just not a decision I'm gonna make anytime soon. And honestly, bro, I enjoy the semi-anon life, bro. It's pretty cool, bro. You're not tied down. I'm not tied down, bro. I enjoy a semi-anon life, bro. I live a relatively private life, honestly. So I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy being an anon who just dropping bombs, and I have loyal followers. And it's like, if you know with 29. If you don't know, then because people will randomly tweet 29 and people will reply context who's 29, and the people reply with just legend. Him. Absolute fucking legend. If you know, you know. So no news right now, but it's something that's being discussed. I'm not gonna make a decision anytime soon, and I'm not gonna make any announcement anytime soon. It's something I have to speak to my family about, because I'm not sure that I want my life to be out there like that. So definitely. Well, you know, you need some co-hosts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's huge. If you need some co-hosts to share the 6 figures with, I know I myself, I'm pretty well off, but Johan needs the money, so yeah, it'd be a big time.
But yeah, but
hey, we know you about to have to hop on another podcast, brother. So we'll sign off. But is there anything else you want to say? And before you say it, though, also we always ask all of our guests who they would like to see on the podcast next.
Weston McKennie.
That's what it has to be.
That's your job, brother.
Listen, I think Weston would be a great person to talk to, bro. Weston's a great guy, man. Here's the thing about Weston. He's made for this shit.
Yeah.
Weston is made for this shit. I'm a betting man. I love to bet. I love to gamble. If I had to make a decision right now because it's gonna happen at some point, probably post 2030, as long as Weston stays at his level, which I think he's only gonna get better in the next 6 to 8 years playing in Europe. When Weston does come to the MLS, I would say it would either be Miami or LA. He has connections to Inter Miami right now. He loves LA. LA loves him, and he has the FC Dallas connection. But gun to my head, gambling man, I think Weston will sign for an LA team when that time comes because that man is just so freaking marketable, bro. He's just so marketable. So he's made for this type of things. He has a loud personality. But you know what the thing about Wes is? He's very private. He doesn't do these type of things. Even though he's meant for these things, he really doesn't do them. But guess what? I know someone who might get him on. So I'll ask him.
Hey.
I might talk. There's a legend named 29. There's a legend that goes by
Really?
29 who knows Weston. And I think 29 might make that call. Hey, listen,
we'd
I got some
appreciate
boys
that.
over there.
You do that, we'll give you 6 figures.
And so, but yeah, my answer is Weston, bro. He's just a great guy, bro. He's a funny guy. Just he's focused right now on club. He's focused right now on club and the national team in the summer. So, but that's why I'd like for y'all to get on, bro. That's a good choice. That boy's made for this shit, bro.
That'll be huge. We'll go after him for sure, hopefully with a little bit of your help. But like we said, hey, we appreciate 29, the legend, Diego. Thank you so much for making the time, brother. And it was a great podcast. Thank you to you guys who are still watching. And shout out to our sponsor, BT Online. Go check them out if you ever need to gamble. And maybe, hey, if you're going to put in a bet, if you would have been here a week ago, if you would have been following 29, you could have bet that Weston was going to Leeds using BT Online. And you would have known. You would have.
Listen, if you're a betting man, you should just follow me, bro. Because
just follow 29. Well, his links will be in the description and popped up the whole time throughout this interview. Show him love, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. We got guests that you guys are going to love, prospects that are coming up, guys that are already established in Europe. We're back, baby. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As we always say, go find your own success. Deuces.